so it was a Thursday, and we were in a 3-person room, and so all of us were just coming home after a long day of doing our drills and all the classes, and
How many
come in.
people are normally supposed to be in a room? Is
Uh,
it 3 or 2 or 4, or
Anywhere from 2 to 4, I'd say. Yeah.
are they called squad bays?
No,
They're just called
just
rooms.
rooms. Yeah, if I recall correctly.
And there's only one building at
Chase
there
Hall,
for.
and it's on the bottom floor.
Okay.
So we had the academy folks above us, and so we do raids to go get more supplies from their areas occasionally.
Or
Yeah.
did you just raid stuff out of their area and
Yeah.
take it because you want
Yeah,
it? Okay. It's a Thursday.
it is.
You're
Yes.
done. You're done with your day.
Yeah. So we come back, and one of the other OCs or officer candidates comes in. It's like, Aaron, I got this awesome idea. I was looking at some of the historical posts from other classmates, and they're saying that we can get the beds perfectly done if we use shirt stays to get them really taut. And then so you get them all measured out and shirt stay them in, and then you can sleep on top, so you don't actually sleep in the covers. And then you can use blankets, wool blankets, to keep yourself warm. And so we're kind of looking at it, and
Where were these tips at? Was it like a book of knowledge that's hidden in
oh.
the baseboards of the room or something?
No,
or?
no, 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 no. This is all online stuff. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Probably, if we're fair to ourselves, probably written by the very instructors. They were all probably, constantly monitoring
Okay.
all of these sites, to be fair to ourselves. But we thought we were clever,
Yeah.
and it seemed like a great idea. And sure enough, when we did it, it looked great. It was nice and taut. It was perfectly measured.
How many shirt stays did it take
Oh, geez.
to make this thing work?
Oh,
Just regular one set, 2 sets,
yeah,
3
probably
sets?
3 sets or so,
Yeah.
maybe more. Yeah. I mean, it
Okay.
depends on how, right? I mean, you have to watch
Oh,
the
yeah.
distribution, otherwise you can tell cleanly, that
Yeah.
there's something's pulling at that particular area, if you're, the problem I think that we had is that we may have utilized this strategy a little too early in the
They knew it
evolution.
shouldn't be that perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, we go through the motions and get it looking good, and all 3 of us do this. And we're like, all right. So we sleep that night and wake up, and so as I was saying earlier, I was the MA, so I got access to the blankets and everything. And we had storage bunks, so we could fold them up nicely and put them in after. But anyway, we had that all taken care of, and so it's Friday. We had plenty of time to get ready now, since we didn't have to worry about doing all the measurements and getting everything ready for the bed part. So we could just focus on other parts of our day and not feel like we're behind on absolutely everything. And we went out and did our day, all the drills and all the classes. And so I was coming back and doing my little penguin walk, with the eyes in the boat, looking straight ahead and doing right turns all the time. And so we do our right turn, and I had to actually stop for a minute because I was looking at it, and I remember that our room was tossed. And normally when they're tossing, it's just like, socks on the ground, and all the blankets are ripped up and everything. And, it's usually a big mess, but it's wasn't quite like this. So, going out, I recall like some of the ceiling tiles had like clothes hanging from them. The mattresses had all been taken off and were shirt stayed together, and everything was particularly messed up and just thrown everywhere. So we're kind of, licking our wounds on that one, getting the room back into some form of shape before we had to go to bed, and going through, and the idea came up. It's like, maybe it was something we did. Maybe it was not quite right. The measurement was off on one of our beds, and that's why they decided to toss it. We got to try this again. Got to do it again. And it's Friday, and Saturday morning, so the next morning is formal room inspections. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Probably not a
it
good
seems
time.
like might not be a good time to try this, but in the spirit of one person does it, you all have to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you're not going to be alone doing one thing or the other. If you're going to get, beaten, it's going to be beaten by the group, and by beaten, not physically, just doing push-ups and a lot amounts of elevated voices, shall we say. But so anyway, we decided to go through with the plan again, and once again, it looked great. Pop a quarter off of it, looked great. So we go to sleep. Next morning comes, and we're getting ready, and it's like one of the first things you did was formal room inspections on a Saturday. And so you're just sitting there, and you're standing at attention. Your different point stations within the room. You have a room leader, I think was myself at the time, if I recall correctly. And so we're going through and listening to the other rooms, and you just hear it kind of echoing down them yelling. You're like, "Whoa, what's how long you been in the Coast Guard?" And all your spindrift questions, right? So all these predetermined questions with very specific answers that you have to give to build that sense of camaraderie as well as connection to the Coast Guard. And so we're just listening to what kind of questions, because it might tip you off on what questions you might be asked when they come to you. But I remember kind of looking, I was right next to the front door, and looking out kind of the corner of my eye, and I see one of the lieutenants of fairly small stature came by and took a nice solid right turn, and stood at attention, and like stood there for a few minutes, had his cover on and everything. And like, see, he was kind of gathering himself. He steps in, and so of course I'm like, "Good morning, Lieutenant, blah, 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 the OC is blah, 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 room, blah, 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 report." He's like, "Stop. Are these beds shirt stays?" "Sir, yes, sir." "Get out of the room. Get out of the room right now." We're like, "Oh," like all trying to not hit each other and rocking around. And he's like, we're going to start piling out. He's like, "No, go grab your rifles. Go grab your rifles and then get out." And we're sitting there like, ah. So we're like fumbling for the keys, trying to get everything out. And we go outside. He's like, "Assume the push-up position." And so you put the rifle over your hands, and you're sitting there like this. And then, we proceed to hear the room getting destroyed once again. And so, and of course, we do a very large amount of push-ups, and other things centered around our rifle right there in the hall. The only room that was out there in the hall at the time. So then, after that, they kind of looked over, and I could feel them looking at you, and then they shaking their head, and then they continue down. But we're sitting there in plank position with the rifle over our knuckles until they finished all the other rooms. So it was great learning experience.
Did y'all try it a third time?
No.
No.